It's pretty, isn't it?
It's lovely. Did you design the cover?
No, I nothing to do. And Donna took that picture. Yeah.
And it's called Floating Bridge.
You called it the floating bridge? Wrote a lot.
You even had an index.
Huh?
You even had an index.
Yeah, how about that?
Thinking already about the next one. And sometimes you just kind of have a panic and think you've run out of ideas because you're constantly having to come up with creative things that will reach a broad audience. And I can tell you, again, most people don't appreciate how beautifully Joe writes these things. These are not cookie cutter types of pieces, and I read them all the time. Joe sends them to me, and we've gotten some sent to Smirconics, right?
Exactly right.
To have them put on a national platform. But these are as good as any syndicated columnist in the United States. And I think sometimes here in our own little territory here, people don't fully appreciate that. And so I just wanted to congratulate Joe. This is an incredible accomplishment to be able to have produced this. Hi. And so we're very proud of you, Joe. I did try to get him to write the biography of Sophie Maslow. Failed on that front. But this is even better. And the fact that you continue to do that, one of the things that I've tried to do with my writing over the years is it's the way to put a spotlight on Duquesne University and on this law school. Hopefully, as long as the stories are positive. But these things are reaching our prime audience is Western PA. And these things are showing that, our faculty are among the thought leaders in this region. And so anyway, it's a really big deal to have accomplished this, Joe. So we're very proud of you, appreciate all of your great work. And with that, I'm getting to the lunch I was supposed to be at.
Thank you, President Gormley, and I'll just say a few words. Thank you all so much. I'm April Barton. I'm the very proud dean here at the law school. Welcome to friends and family. We have his beautiful wife, Catherine, and Tori, his daughter, who are here with us, many friends and family and colleagues, faculty and staff. I'm here to celebrate our very own Professor Joe Mistick. I will just say every Saturday evening, I have the pleasure of reading your column. And it's always this wonderful mixture, I think, of nuance and style and flair and panache, and I would expect nothing less from my Italian friend here. And I think sometimes he tackles things, sometimes his columns are more sentimental, and then other times he's tackling really important issues of our time, even political issues. But what I really admire about his writing is that even when you're making a point, he does it always with grace and humility and respect. And I think that that's just such an important lesson of our time. And I always really appreciate that in your writing.
Thank you.
And I think also you have this ability to interweave really important universal pearls of wisdom. And I think they're usually pulled from lessons of history or faith or law. I'm pretty sure they're gleaned from all of his years of bussing tables.
That was my training ground.
But it really is just such a pleasure and honor to be here to celebrate you and your magnificent work, and we're just so proud of you. And it's my pleasure to be here. I will hand it now over to Professor Neacsu, who's going to be our MC for today's event.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and especially Catherine and Corey. And I'm going to invite our friend. Should we talk about our friend?
Well, I'm not sure. Your face, yes.
All right. This is an intervention. We didn't want to tell you, but we need to talk with you. These gentlemen are here to place them under arrest and we're finished. First of all, thank you for your work. Dr. Murray used to always quote Edmund Burke, and sniffing tyranny in the wind was a concept that he always discussed. And Joe's good. He's got a good snout. He not only sniffs tyranny, sometimes he creates it with control. And I have the pleasure of reading them in advance and sometimes commenting one way or another. And I have to commend his family for putting up with him, because on every Wednesday and Thursday, I see his strangeness creep back into reality. And I'm a little tired of it, Joe. But I'm grateful to him because he reminds us in his writings that the good old days aren't behind us, they're in front of us too. And his sense of history, not only has he read a lot and seen a lot, he's made a lot. When you look at the skyline from the city, from the steel building down to the rivers, that's a product of his thinking as deputy mayor. I know this firsthand. Or the stadiums, they're there because of handiwork, quiet handiwork. I mean, we talk a lot about things that go on in the city and the county and at the state level too, and the governor knows this full well. It's an art to try to make things happen. And while Joe likes to create tyranny and sometimes sniffs it out in advance, he lives in a life of hope. His articles are love letters to the community that he loves. His friends are the basis of his articles, his relationships, his upbringing in Braddock. And I've known him for 35 years. Some of them have been wonderful. Some of them have been contentious, good stuff, good contentious. But I've learned so much from Joe, and I'm grateful to him for his work. I'm grateful to him for his friendship, and I'm grateful to Donna and her team. Amy and Katie and Chuck, of course, and so many in the team to create this for us, not only for Joe, but for Bruce and this gap in publishing. I'm just grateful for your creativity. Thank you for that. I'm grateful to the dean for this ability to do these kinds of things because it's creative and for everything we do. But I'm here to say thank you to my pal. We've been through a lot together, and I'm grateful for every lesson he's taught me. I'm still working on because I'm slow. But I'm grateful to my pal and grateful to all of you for sharing this with him. Thank you very much.
I understand in Barton because this room is what she hopes to have here. This multicultural room is her idea, and we just made it possible with students from Kappa, and I know we have an alum from Kappa right here. So thank you for bringing us together. Thank you, Dean. And when we started with Professor Ledowitz and his work, similar to what you see there in scholarship collection, that was again the mandate we received from the Barton. So we are following, implementing that mandate. Now,
Those words are, those kind words are from a best-selling New York Times author, which is rather astonishing. But more important than anything else is my friend. And to have his support really is a great deal. Dean April Barton, we've always had a gem of a law school here, a little gem, but it was a little bit of a secret. And thanks to Dean Barton, the world now knows how good we are and what a wonderful law school we have. She's spread the word and taken us really to the next level. Both Donna and John, thank you for your kind words. Donna's the driving force. This could not have happened. I mean, this happened out of the blue. She surprised me. That's sort of a surprise book. All my work had been done over the years, and she actually turned it into a book, along with Amy, who really made some sense of all these disparate topics. None of this would have happened without those two and the library staff. So it's just it's a wonderful thing. I am eternally grateful. As for John, that's another story. We are at the very end of the hall, as far away as we could be from the rest of the law school. And I think that might be by design. I should put us down here, and we sort of keep each other out of trouble periodically. But we need a great deal of help from Governor Tom Corbett, who's just a few feet away from us at any moment. And he's a big part of our team, so to speak. My wife Catherine's here, who keeps me on track by building our family schedule around this weekly newspaper writing schedule. She's also often my first and last sounding board. And all the while she maintains her own psychotherapy practice, which has saved me a ton of money. Our middle daughter, Tori, is here, representing her 5 siblings, Sloan, Addie, Will, Teddy, and Ben. Now, I wish I had an inspirational story, because Donna kept saying, say something inspirational about how you became a writer. Well, here's the truth. It was back 22 years ago, and I had just quit drinking. And I was absolutely astonished at how much free time I got. Out of sheer deadly boredom, I called Colin McNichol, who was an editor of the Tribune Review, and I said, I can occasionally write an op-ed for you if you like, something like that. But by the end of the day, I was a regular Sunday Tribune Review columnist with the blessing of Richard Mellon-Skate, which is astonishing considering I'm a kid from Braddock, and they weren't our favorite people, and we weren't there. But we managed to make a bit of a mishap. The next week, my photo appeared in the Trib above the headline, "Liberals Rejoice, Mistick Joins the Trib." Now, this week's column will be number 1078. I've never missed a deadline. That discipline that comes from writing a poem is something that I really needed. It's been a great gift to me. I even hit my deadline the week I had emergency open heart surgery and replaced a bunch of clogged arteries. My very conservative editor at the time said that obviously now that I had oxygen going to my brain, and my most liberal friend said, that now that I'm thinking clearly, I would obviously move towards the left. But I've stayed near the middle, but surely left of center. I hope that I've used my little piece of journalistic real estate wisely and responsibly. And I hope that I've honored people in my neighborhood, the people who raised me. I hope that I've honored them with my writing. They built America. They built and they rebuilt Pittsburgh. And they defeated tyranny twice. Those are the people who raised me and most of us in this room. Their stories are the American story. No matter where their families came from, they couldn't wait to become Americans. It's been my great privilege to tell their stories and the stories of their children and their grandchildren. Some of those people who've allowed me to tell their stories are here. Judge Francis Diaz, who let me pass along the lessons of his father. And Francis teaches, he volunteers his time and his wisdom to teach in the urban development practicum here every Tuesday. Marco Mack, my brother, right there. The owner of the exercise warehouse in Bloomfield, one of the last great weightlifting and boxing gyms in the country. And Marco spends much of his time saving kids from the temptations of the streets. Sam Patty, the owner of La Prima Espresso, his handiwork is here, and the best barista in town, Dean, is here with us. Make sure you get a wonderful creation of Danny's before the afternoon is up. Sam created a whole neighborhood for many of us. Our no matter where we live, La Prima is our neighborhood. So it's a wonderful culture that he's created for all of us. And Jimmy Morton, former acting superintendent of the Allegheny County Police, who spent 30 years in homicide, the toughest job in law enforcement, a place to which he took very seriously, protecting the rest of us from some of the worst aspects of our society. It's one of law enforcement's toughest jobs, and he did it. So, each of them and all the others that we've written about have led by example, and I've done my best to share their stories with my readers and hopes that they will learn from them as well. Every week after I file my phone, Catherine will say, "Well, how did it turn out?" And I always reply, They can't all be Pulitzer Prize winners. No, the truth is, none of them. But that doesn't matter. You know, if any of my words have caused one of my readers to reconsider a harsh judgment, to realize that we can be political opponents and still be friends, still be pals, still be family members, remind themselves that we must cherish and protect this republic of ours that has given us so many freedoms, then that's better than any prize. So thank you, all my friends, for your kindness and for your support. It's a pleasure to come here.
If anybody would like to say a few words, please. If not, Joey's going to sign. Oh, Joey's going to read more.
Wow. So I asked me to read one call, okay? So I picked this column only because it's extremely timely. And I wrote this when on March 6th, 2022, right after Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. And it's called Ukrainian Tough. And, you know, I'm limited to 550 words every week, so I'm not going to bore you much longer. This isn't that long. When I was a boy, we moved from Braddock, one of the small towns upwind from the mill smoke that we breathed every day. The post-World War II GI Bill put mortgages and small homes within reach of our families, and better union contracts meant a little extra cash. Among our new neighbors in East McKeesburg were Ukrainian refugees Jack and Lydia Pony and their children, Roman and Olga. Our houses sat across from each other on the last 100 feet of paved road before the Red Dog Slag started, where we played on summer days until the streetlights came on. It was a time of lingering tragedy. Everyone had lost someone or something to war, but no one talked about it that much. They were busy trying to patch their lives back together. But we always had a sense that Jack Pony had seen more than most, probably more than anyone should. When a cousin from Jack's peasant village near Chernobyl showed up on his porch, both men were surprised that the other was still alive. Roman listened as the cousins remembered their beginnings and talked about their journeys, when Kurt explained a lot about his dad and the Ukrainian people. Jack's father was killed in World War I when Jack was 10 years old. The boy worked the land on the family's one-horse farm, and that farm fed them until 1932. Then Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin decided to starve the Ukrainians, confiscating their food and seizing crops. During the terror famine, millions of Ukrainians died, as many as 10 million, according to one United Nations estimate. Young Jack and most of the immediate family survived, but only because they were lucky to live near a lake and he knew how to fish. Stalin's troops returned during World War II and gathered the men and boys from the village, gave them rifles with no bullets, and forced them to charge the Nazi lines, human shields for the armed soldiers behind them. If they faltered, they were told, or zigzagged, they would be shot in the back. Jack made it, fighting with his rifle butt until he was captured and sent to a concentration camp. There he stayed, half-starved and surrounded by death and suffering until the end of the war. He was then sent to a refugee camp where he met and married Lydia. She had been taken from her Ukrainian village to work in a German munitions plant that was often the target of Allied bombers. In time, they made it to America and our little stretch of road where they made a new and happy life together. Jack was tough. He endured. And his story is the story of the Ukrainian people. Vladimir Putin is the beast this time. And he can channel Stalin all he wants, but Ukrainian people have been here before. And like Jack, they know the value of freedom. That is why grandmas are carrying assault rifles. Citizens are making Molotov cocktails. Ukrainian saboteurs are attacking Russian troops, and unarmed citizens are blocking Russian tanks. Fathers and grandfathers are escorting their families to safety and then taking the next train back to the cities to join the fight. And even if Putin manages to occupy Ukraine, he will never beat the Ukrainians. They cannot be defeated. Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Hey.
That's an honor.
Right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Today's my last.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to direct her.
You drink it together. You take our picture.
Hey, get a picture. Get a
I'll go.
Francis, my friend, the judge.
Give us your laptop.
Sit down and watch.
Just without light.
Thank you.
That'd be nice.
Okay, I spoke her name. I don't know.
Okay.
We used to have a good drive. Flap on the airplane, don't go down. Good. I think that.
And there's a problem, though.
Right, I mean, that's. Oh, yeah. It's like, hey, but the flight has to go down, the flight. No. Oh, they're bad. Great.
Together.
Yeah.
Washington and.
I'm trying to get Oh, right.
It's like,
No, I picked up.
Here you are, buddy. Oh, appreciate it. Sure, thank you. Thank you. Read those. My driver, yeah, it's familiar.
It is.
I like how Mark was saying, driver.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just like to be able to. You want? Oh, I'm sure. See, I'm on it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's always the lowest standard.
I didn't sign it, did I? You can't do it. There's Jimmy working twice.
You should circle his name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, the human toll homicide. Here he is. Here he is.
I think you should sign it here on this page. Isn't that nice? Yeah, I didn't do it alone. The person who worked, the person who did most of the work, Amy, is June. Yeah. It's like everything takes a break. And I was talking to Sonny without. It's a big difference.
And another one, I don't know what the other. Look at the index real fast. It means it's one.
No, we want to give a gift to these guys. Today.